stop drinking. Number 4, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Number 6, an AA group will never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. Number 8, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. Number 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversies. 11, our public relation policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need to always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. And number 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our tradition, ever reminding us to place precedence before personalities. Thank you.
All right, thank you for reading, sir. At this time, I'll ask the person to read the promises.
My name is Keith and I am an alcoholic.
Keith.
These are the promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will change. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Here are people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks. I'd like to thank everybody that's read. At this time, I will be reading the single list of purpose, which states that this is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. We're glad that you're all here, especially newcomers. In keeping with our single list of purpose in our third tradition, which states that the only requirement for AA membership is their desire to stop drinking. We ask that all who participate confine their discussion to their problems with alcohol. At this time, I would like to ask, is there any newcomers here at this meeting for the first time tonight? Are there any visitors who would like to be recognized? Okay, well, we're gonna get ready to hear from our speaker for tonight. Our speaker is Kip. He is on a meeting called the Early Bird meeting. I ran into him while our girl Nico, you know, she put out those bulletins and everything, and I went there and enjoyed it, man. They have a great following. Every time I got on there, you know, it's either 100 people or more, and it's early in the morning to get things started. So with that, I'm gonna stop running my mouth and I'm gonna give you Kip, AIP. Kip, you got the floor, sir.
All right, I'm a grateful alcoholic named Kip. I just want to say thank you, Charles, for asking me to speak tonight. This is definitely a challenge here, but you know, God's got this, right? That's the way I see it. And thank you for coming to our meeting. And if that is my home group, if you ever want to come to an early morning meeting at 8 a.m., we have it every day. and you can go to aazoomaholic.com on your browser, and that'll bring you right into the meeting before the meeting at 7:30 every morning. And it's a good meeting. It's open discussion, beginners meeting. I've got a sponsor, and he's got a sponsor, and I sponsor folks. I've got a sobriety date. I just had my chip. Here it is. I don't know how many of y'all got video, but my sobriety date's July the 8th, 2010. By God's grace and mercy, I haven't seen it fit to take a drink, any mood, mind altered substance since July the 7th, 2010. That was my first sober date, so that's when I call my sobriety date. You know, the big book tells me I should tell you in a general way what it was like, what happened, and what I'm like today. And what I want to do as an icebreaker, with your permission, I always like to start off with a little joke. It's a little bit of comedy, just to get me centered here, lighten up a little bit. There was this alcoholic, right? He goes into a bar. He bellies up to the bar. He orders 2 shots. Bartender sets both shots down on the bar. He takes the first one, pours it all over the bar, drinks the second one. Orders 2 more shots. Takes the first one, pours it all over the bar, drinks the second one. Orders 2 more shots. The bartender's like, hold on, wait a minute. Why do you keep pouring out that shot of liquor all over the bar? He said, well, my sponsor and my home group said all I needed to do was avoid the first drink. So I don't know about y'all, but I thought that was comical. That's how we alcoholics, or like, at least how I think, you know, if I can just avoid the first drink, so to speak, and that's kind of comical today. But I'm going to tell you, like I said, in a general way, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today. I grew up in a good Christian home, guys. I was raised right. My mom and my daddy took me to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. And anytime the church doors were open, such as revivals and Sunday school, vacation Bible school, stuff like that, they had, you know, a lot of things going on. My dad he sang in the quartet. He was a choir director, deacon at the church. My mama taught Sunday school. My dad taught Sunday school. So we were very active growing up from day one, you know, raised right. But, you know, I had a real good childhood. I grew up in a mobile home park, and we didn't have a lot that I could tell, but I didn't need for nothing. I mean, it seemed like everything I needed was there. I had a pretty good, happy childhood, and I did pretty good in school. I mean, average, a little bit above average, maybe, whatever you want to call it. Nothing extraordinary, but I passed every year and so forth. But something dramatic happened to me when I turned 14, shortly thereafter, and a little bit before my mother was diagnosed with cancer. And I didn't understand it, y'all. I've done 4 steps. I've looked back, I've dug deep, and I had no clue as to what that meant at the time. They tried to tell me and try to explain it to me in a roundabout way that she wasn't going to make it, but I just wouldn't believe it. Because my belief system was so instilled in me that you know, God was in the miracle business, and I still believe that. But I was like, well, if she's sick, she'll be fine. She'll do just okay. And well, she ended up passing away in October, right after I started the 9th grade, when I was 14 years old. The biggest thing of that, what I want to tell you, is my shame towards my mother was great. She was she's a very beautiful woman looking back. I'm just trying to give you a frame of mind I was in at the time. She had this big, tall, red, back in the 70s and 80s, early 80s, tall red hair. And she's a very beautiful woman, but at the time, you know, how we don't want to be seen with our mom and dad, or at least I didn't. And anyway, 2 weeks prior to her passing was the last time I saw her. And she called up me over there to her bed and said, Kip, will you please come over and give me a hug and a kiss goodbye? And I walked right out of the room like I didn't even hear her. And my dad tried for every day to try to get me to go to that hospital. But because I was hard-headed, thought I knew everything, and wanted to do what I wanted to do, I just didn't want to go up there and sit at that hospital, because my dad would go up there and sit 3-4 hours at a time. Of course, at 14, I didn't have no ways to get around but him. And I didn't want to go. I'd rather sit at home, watch TV, or run around the trailer park with my buddies drinking. I don't remember a lot about my first drink. I just remember it was a Stroh's beer, because my dad had kidney stones back in the 70s, and the doctor prescribed him to drink a beer a day to help flush out his kidneys during that time. And I seen my brother get into it, and I got into it, and nothing really happened. That's just, I mean, I love milkshakes, but I don't remember my first milkshake, but I sure remember that first beer. And like I said, nothing happened much at that time, but most of my stuff happened when I got to going after my mom passed away. You know, I really hated myself for the way I treated her prior to her passing. And I didn't know it. I really didn't know it. I was walking around, I was angry at God all the time. I didn't even know this, y'all. I had no clue. I had to do a 4th and 5th step and work with another to figure these things out about me. I didn't understand the importance of that till after I've done it. Of course, they say life is lived forward, but understood backwards. And now I get it, you know, but then I didn't. And I just found that magic potion alcohol, guys, and I got outside issues. You can just fill in the blank. I'm gonna stick to alcohol because I'm a firm believer. I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, what I'm gonna do, but just fill in the blank. If you can think of it, I've done it. And so my dad gets remarried about a year after my mother passes away. So now I got another resentment. I'm mad at my dad, and I don't like this woman. I'm 15, and you can't tell me nothing. And so I'm doing, you know, my thing. And one of the things that really hurt me, and I know this neither here nor there, my stepmom wanted to get married on my mother's birthday. And, you know, I was like, no, me and my other 2 brothers was, no, we don't want that to happen. But so they didn't. But one thing my stepmom said to me that really gave me a resentment, and I still got to work on that today. She said, your mama don't have a birthday no more. She's in heaven. She don't have no more birthday. And that really just bothered me for a long time too. It just intensified my, at the time, I'd say hate. I just didn't like her. Didn't want to be around her. And anyway, and my dad seen we didn't get along, blah, blah, blah. When I graduated high school at 17, my dad, like I said, I grew up in the trailer park. He found a mobile home about 100 yards away from the mobile home we were living in. And he said, I'm gonna let you and your, I got 2 older brothers. My oldest brother had already moved on with his life. He's about 6-7 years older than me. And my middle brother is about 3 years older than me. And he said, I'm gonna let y'all have this trailer right here. It was a 14 by 70 trailer. So it was a nice little trailer, mobile home, whatever you want to call it. And he said, all you got to do is pay the light bill. If you want a phone, get you a phone. If you want cable, get a cable. But, you know, you need to keep the lights on. And I couldn't even do that. You know, I felt entitled because my mother had passed away that my dad ought to pay that. I'm looking back today, I felt that way. But when he left, only thing I could think about was Party Central. You know, he didn't want no part to do with really me and my middle brother much. I mean, he loved us. Don't get me wrong. He was wanting to be with his wife. I get it today. I didn't understand it at the time. And I was glad he didn't. So when we let the clutch out, we started having parties at my house. It's his house, really, mobile home. And on Friday night, we would have parties there, you know, right after high school. You know, I was one of the few that had their own place. So we would invite everybody over there to have keg parties and PJ parties. I don't know if you ever drink PJ, where you soak your fruits in Everclear all day long. Then you put Hawaiian punch in it. We'd get a trash can and put it in that, and we'd drink that, and we'd have parties at my house. Anyway, Friday night, Saturday night, and then, I'd recuperate. I was a carpenter. I did carpentry work, coming out of high school, because I took carpentry in high school for 3 years. I did well with that. And so I'd try to recuperate on Sunday so I could work Monday. Well, anyway, y'all know the progressiveness of it, guys. It started from Friday, and then it got to where it was in Sunday. I would miss work Monday, and heck, I'd already missed work Monday, so I'd miss Tuesday, so forth and so on. Before long, it was just all I could do to work, and then I'd stay up all night, try to go to work in the hot sun or whatever, and I just couldn't do it. I just got tired. I was like, man, one of these two things has got to go, and either working or drinking. And guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, it wasn't a hard decision for me. The only problem when I made my choice was alcohol, is that when I drink, it costs money, and so with all my partying and stuff, I had to come up with a way to where I could make some money, and I resorted to lie, cheat, steal, con, and manipulate. And that's what I did. I resorted to shoplifting in different stores and stuff, and thought I was invisible. Well, I got in trouble for that. I also had stole some checks and wrote some bad checks and stuff, forging, uttering, stuff like that. And anyway, I went to prison, got 2 years under the old law, cut to 1, and I did 2 weeks, and they terminated me my first time at 19 years old. And you would have thought, and I did think, and I was like, I need to make a change, but I was such in the grist of it, I didn't. I was like, I'd tell myself, well, as long as I lay off that hard stuff and just drink beer or whatever. I don't know if y'all have ever done that, but that's what I did. And so it always escalated into something else. I'd be right back at it. Anyway, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, because I know I don't have a lot of time, because this is what happened. I ended up going to prison 5 times, y'all. And I'm not proud of that. It's just my story. I did 10 years in installments. The last time I got locked up in 2005, I got hit with 4 felonies. I deserved every one of them. They were obtaining property by false pretense. And by the way, I found out that when I pawn something that don't belong to me, that's a felony. It don't make no difference what its value is. And so anyway, they hit me with 2 habitual criminal charges. Like I said, I'd already been to prison 4 times, and I could tell you some stories all the way where I went through the DART program. I was trying my best. All those seeds, though, by the way, did finally come up in 2010 when I finally surrendered. But in 2009, I got out of prison. I was in there for 4 years. I got 42 to 54 months. I did 48 months right in the middle of it. I got it down to 48 months, and I got out. And the whole time I was in there, I was like, I'm not going to do that stuff no more. I ain't never going to be nothing. I got to do something different. This just ain't working for me. I keep ending up back in jail or prison. I've been to jail more times than I can tell you. I can't even count how many times I've been to jail. I'm not proud of that either. It's just my story. So in 2009, when I got out, I made it 9-10 months, y'all. Like I said, I went through the DART program. That's drug alcohol recovery treatment in prison in North Carolina. And they sent me through that, and then sent me through peer development. And I was a peer counselor, and I was actually pretty well involved in AA and NA, and pretty much AA while I was in there. And I was real good at telling you guys that y'all need to go to those A&A meetings when you get out, but didn't follow my own advice. When I got out, like I said, I grew up in church, so I had a hard time with this thing. I thought, well, God's going to fix me. And I felt like, okay, I went to prison for 4 years. I'm good. I don't need nothing but God. So I started going to church when I got out, and that lasted a while, and I faded away from that. And 9 months later, that obsession got on me. I got to thinking, it was almost 5 years since I took a drop or anything because I'd been in prison. And that thing got on me, you can handle just one. You could just get you one 12 pack. And one of the things I was going to go do was go see my dad. And I was heading that way to see him. I didn't have no driver's license. By the way, I didn't have no driver's license for 20 years, from 20 to 40. I didn't have no license. That wasn't because I got a DUI, just because I wouldn't spend my money renewing tags and paying tickets and all that. So they'd get me with driving license revoked multiple times. And that's how I didn't have no license. And so I was going to do it right. I started my own construction company. And I had a guy that worked for me that drove the van and everything. And I wasn't going to drive. I wasn't thinking about getting no license back. I just didn't think there was much hope. It was just too much trouble to get my license back for different counties that I'd been to with driving license revoked. Long story short, I was on my way. I had got in that van. It was a legal van, but I wasn't legal to drive. It had tags and insurance on it that I had my tools and stuff in, that I had my driver drive. And I was on my way coming from Lewisburg towards North Carolina. Towards Greensboro. Lewisburg is it's over in the Raleigh area, not far from the Raleigh area there, Apex, all that's together. Anyway, I'm driving and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to see my dad, is what I told myself. And then when I got to about Durham, which is about 45 minutes from where I was going to go, and I was like, well, it's getting late. I don't need to go bother my dad. I'm just going to go stay at the hotel. But first, I can get me one 12 pack. And I got me a 12 pack of beer. And I went to that hotel, and I knew exactly what I was doing. I had subconsciously signed up to go to this hotel, knowing full well what I was going to do, or motel rather. And the motel that I was going to is where they had some extracurricular activities. So when I wanted to go there, that's what I did. And I started drinking, and then I got to have something that helped me drink a little more. And 3 weeks later, guys, I never did make it to my dad's. I had I had about $10,000 saved up. I spent all that money. I pawned everything I had. And I gave my dad this sob story, how life was not treating me fair. And he felt sorry for me, just like a dad does. And I conned and manipulated my way back in his home. And because I'd burnt the bridge where I was at, and he let me come back and stay with him. And that session was so bad on me, I'm not proud of this, guys, and I'm gonna try. I hope I can get to all this that I want to say. Is my dad went on vacation for a week, and he said, hold it down while I'm gone, blah blah blah. Well, while he was gone, I had to have what I had to have, and I wasn't working. And so I stole his truck. I'm not proud of this. I stole everything that was of any value. I could list some stuff lawnmowers, chainsaws, ladders, whatever I could get my hands on, because this was going to be my last run. My thought was, I've messed up. I don't want to live. I got no ways of getting out of this hole I'm in. And when I get done, I'm going to kill myself. That's where I was at. And I really thought that that's what I was going to do. But like I said, July the 8th, 2010 is my sobriety date. And it could very well be on my tombstone that same date, because I was at the jumping off point. But it's not, because God, nothing Kip did. Again, July the 8th, 2010 could be on that tombstone at my gravesite, because I didn't want to live no more. I just didn't see no way out. I didn't want to live, and I didn't want to die. I couldn't drink, and I couldn't not drink. I just was at that place. And fortunately, they picked me up at the liquor house. The police did, gave me 4 more felonies. Now I got 2 habitual criminals dropped in 2005. So now on July the 7th, 2010, they picked me up, gave me 4 more felonies. And I already knew, that judge already told me, if you come back, you're going to get those habitual criminal charges. And each one of them were 80 to 105 months, not counting the other charges that I was facing. So I surrendered. I was like, on July the 8th, I went to a meeting in the prison. I mean, in the jail. I didn't know I had surrendered, but looking back today, I can say I did because I'm still here and ain't taken a drink since July the 7th. And I just knew, guys, I just knew without a shadow of a doubt, there wasn't no doubt in my mind, I had done it again. I'm going to prison at least 10 to 12 years minimum. Because I just did 4. The judge said, you go, and they dropped the habitual criminal charges. They dropped them and gave me, a box card in my time with the felonies that I had back in 2005. Long story short, I was in there about 2 months. And God's grace shines so on me that I can't even put into words, y'all. The guard came to the jail cell and said, Mr. Harris, there's somebody downstairs that needs to see you. And, I didn't think nobody wanted to see me, and rightfully so. And I said, okay, it must be, maybe it's my public defender or somebody like that. I go down there, and this guy named Jeff Bennett. He's head over drug court in Greensboro. It's a drug alcohol court. And he interviews me, and he said, Kip, I have no clue how your name got on my desk, but it's on my desk. And I'm here to ask you, do you want help with your alcohol problem / fill in the blank? And of course, I'm in jail at the time. I'm on a $50,000 bond. I couldn't have made a $5 bond. I was done. I was over. I was done, completely done. And he said, Kip, you think we can help you? And I was like, well, I hope so. He said, I tell you what, if you do everything we ask you to do over the next year, we will dismiss these charges against you. And really, your case ain't supposed to be, I don't know how it got there. Is it odd or is it God? I don't know. Anyway, of course, I'm going to say anything I can to get out. That I've still got that ism, and it was still all over me. I mean, I'm just 2 months in. I'm finally getting the cobwebs out. I got out in September. Anyway, by all rights, I should still be in prison. But he said, Kip, you're not staying in Greensboro. So Guilford County's got Greensboro and High Point. It's 2 different cities, but the same county. He said, you're not staying in Greensboro. We're going to move your court case over to High Point. It's drug court, and you're going to do everything we ask you to do. And if you don't, you're going to get 36, I think it was 32 to 36 months if you don't. And I was like, well, man, that's a good deal, because even if I don't do it, all I got, and that's the way this alcoholic thinks. I'm minimizing it. I'm like, well, heck, if they ain't gonna charge me to a habitual criminal, worst thing that could happen is I get 36 more months, and that ain't bad. And that's crazy. Who wants to do 36 minutes in jail? It's crazy for me to be thinking like that, but I did think like that. And I was like, well, okay, sign me up. They said, well, drug court is going to be in 2 weeks. We're going to let you out, and you're going to go over there. And Jason Yates, you're going to go to stay in Caring Services. It's kind of like a recovery community in High Point called Caring Services. And they said, Jason Yates, he's the head over there, and he's going to come pick you up. He took me over to my dad's. My dad didn't want nothing to do with me. He put my bag of clothes out on the side of the road there. And so we could go by and pick it up. And there wasn't nothing but rags. I mean, I didn't own nothing. And we went by there, and I went to Caring Services. And guys, I didn't know if I wanted what you had when I got here, but I can tell you, I sure didn't want what I had no more. My way was not working. Caring Services requires that you go to an AA meeting every day. I was on a curfew for the first 6 months. I had to be home at 7 p.m. When I started it, I had to go to IOP. That means I got to be at a class at 9 o'clock. It's over at 10:30. I got to be in another class from 11 to 1. And then I was pretty much done for the day, because I had to go see a task officer once a week. I had to go see a drug court coordinator once a week, and I had to go to drug court every 2 weeks. And they said, you're not going to work for the first 90 days. You're going to work on you. Had to go through anger management. Can you believe that? They sent me through anger management. Guys, I didn't know I was angry, but that helped me a lot too, going through that Caring Services. And then I stayed in a house with 13 men with 5 different personalities, and I was one of them. That's a count on your hand. That's a lot of people in one house, and it was tough. And I stayed there for 90 days. I ended up, my sponsor, he said, there's only one thing that you don't need to change, Kip. And I said, what's that? He said, your sobriety date. He said, everything else you need to change. Do not change that sobriety date. And I listened to him. I got my sponsor pretty right, and he's still my sponsor today. Matter of fact, he's going to be speaking tomorrow night. You can go to nc23.org on the Radiance group at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. You can tune in and hear my sponsor. He's got this celebrated 38 years of sobriety, and he had a lot of wisdom. And he took me through that book while I was also going to them meetings every day. I walked into the club. It was a 7:30 a.m. meeting called On Awakening. And when I walked in there, there was people there, and they said, welcome, and we're going to make you the chairman. And I was like, all right, an important job for me. I'm important. I'm like, thank you. I'm going to be the chairman. And yeah, they said, yeah, you need to take these chairs over here and stack them over here, clean the floor, and then put them back. I was like, man, that was funny to me that, you know, I'm the chairman. I thought I was going to be doing something, and it was important, guys. I tell you, it was just as important as sitting behind the table chairing a meeting. As a matter of fact, it was more important than that for me, because it got me out of me for just a short period of time before the meeting and after the meeting, if you will. I took the trash out, and then they promoted me to coffee maker, and I made coffee, and they gave me a key, and it wasn't long. God was just working things out as time went on. I ended up doing everything they told me to do. And like I said, my sponsor said, there ain't but one thing you need to change. And I said, what's that? He said, everything. I did carpentry work for 25 years, y'all. And
That's a different Kip.
for 25 years,
I want to hear.
somebody's unmuted. I did carpentry work for 25 years, guys. And for me to change what I was doing, was a challenge, but I did. I didn't have no driver's license, and carrying services took me to 4 different counties, drove me to these jail, and got me reassigned with new court dates. And when I went to each one of those different places, they dismissed the charges so I could get my driver's license back, simply because I was in carrying services care. They vouched for me, said I was doing the next right thing. So I was able to get my license back. And on the very same day, I had applied for a car lot position. And I actually applied for a manager position at a car lot. And I went in there, and I had that paper driver's license. And I was like, and they said, you got a driver's license? I said, yeah, I got it right here. It's supposed to be in the mail. And they seen that. They know what that's about. They said, okay. And they hired me. And I'm off 7 months sober, y'all. And they said, here's all the keys to all these cars. Here's the keys to the building. Here's the titles to these cars. You're going to do this on your own. And when you sell a car, I want X amount of dollars put in the bank. We're going to give you the bank account number, blah, blah, blah. And you keep the rest, which I averaged $300 to $600 per car. And I started doing that, and I was able to make an honest living. But I did go through a little rough patch there. I went 3 weeks one time and didn't sell a car. By the way, when you're doing that kind of work, if you don't make a sale, you don't make any money. And I almost threw in the towel, y'all. I came that close to going back to doing carpentry work permanently, because I knew I could make, decent money doing that. At least I'd have a paycheck. And finally, the sky fell out. And the next thing you know, God blessed me selling a bunch of cars, and I've been doing it ever since. One of the things that happened to me since I've been in recovery is I got a peace of mind that passes all understanding. God has blessed me with a heart for you guys. That first 90 days, that obsession was lifted, maybe even sooner than that. Then he blessed me with a heart for you guys. I love each and every one of you guys. I don't know what I'd do without you. Every day I get on Zoom. I just came from a meeting. I went to a meeting at 6 o'clock tonight in person, left there, came here and got on this meeting. I love you guys. You can't keep me away. I didn't do that. That's God. God gave me a love for Alcoholics Anonymous. I can't even put into words. And so, about 7 months into this thing, I get a call from a lady. I ain't dating nobody. I haven't never been married at the time. And I wasn't expecting this. And she calls me and she says, I need to see you. And I was like, who is this? Sound real pretty. I was like, okay. She said, meet her over such and such. I said, well, I got to be at the car lot. Just meet me there. And it was my very first girlfriend from high school. We dated 2 years in high school and I pushed her away because she got in the way of my drinking. And we started dating in 2014. We got married. I got pictures of me and her when we were 15, 16 years old. And 2019, we got separated in sobriety. That hurt. And it's tough. Presently, we're going through marriage counseling. I don't know what's going to happen. I've given it to God. I know I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm just going to try to stay in the now. I've given it to the God of my understanding. And as far as I can tell, he'll work it out. If he don't, he'll have something for me better than what I got now. And that's just the way I have to look at it. I got busy in Alcoholics Anonymous. Another thing, you know, I started doing service work. I made commitments. That's one of the biggest things that helps keep me sober, even still today, is when this pandemic came on, guys, I was like, what am I going to do? I love Alcoholics Anonymous. What can I do? And I found out it was a Zoom meeting, and I heard a guy, he was talking on the traditions, and he said, you know, y'all guys don't, you know, if you got a home group or whatever, don't get mad at somebody if they start a Zoom meeting because, you know, they take the initiative to do it. So the next day, pretty much, I started a Zoom meeting for the early bird that meets in Greensboro. And then, well, right before that, I started a speaker meeting, AA Zoomaholic speaker meeting every Wednesday night. This week we got Adam T. He's on the top 50 of all time AA speakers ever. And you don't want to miss that. That's going to be exciting. And I've been doing that every week. And then started the early bird. Every morning I have to open the computer and start the meeting so people can come in at 7:30. Every morning I've done that since like the 1st of April. And it gave me a purpose. And I began to do that. We started out, we probably had 20 or 30 people the first day. And now we got over 120, 130 people there. Sometimes 110, it varies. But anyway, and I opened and I made that commitment. I've got a charity meeting tomorrow night. My sponsor's speaking at Radiance. I do that for the whole month. It's in person and on Zoom. I fell in love. I just love doing service work. I'm not looking for no attaboys or pats on the back. These are things that I should have been doing all along anyway. And I just love it. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't know what time it is here. I'm gone for a little while, so I'm going to get ready to wrap it up. Today, life is good. I just can't complain about nothing. I'm going to share this last little story. September this past year, my dad had a stroke, and it was a massive stroke. And guys, I remembered I wasn't there for my mama back when she passed in 1983. And I said, I'm not lousing this up because I was sober. Matter of fact, I found out he had passed away while I was in the early bird Zoom meeting. And I left the meeting. Michael, some of y'all know Michael, he come on and took it over while I was doing that. And I went there. I mean, while my dad, I was the only one out of the whole family that could go in that hospital because of COVID. And I was there every single day for 10, 11 days. That's how long he lasted. And I was there by his side when he passed away, except for, like I said, I found out he passed away while I was on the early bird. I always go up there right after the early bird meeting. And anyway, he passed away. And then because I'm sober, all you Alcoholics Anonymous people surrounded me with love and care. And I got, I don't know how many cards, sympathy cards from you guys. I'd probably say 80 to 100 cards. Y'all showed up at my dad's funeral. Because I was there present, I am a minister, I'm an evangelist, and I was able to preach my dad's funeral, what he would have wanted. I was able to get the church that he went to agree to let us have the funeral there. I was able to use my money to pay for the funeral and pay for everything. And I got reimbursed part of it. But anyway, I was able to be present. I had my family come here. I had 14 people in my house, and they could stay here. And they felt safe. They felt comfortable, all because of Alcoholics Anonymous. Matter of fact, they were listening in to some of the meetings while they were here because they knew my dad he wasn't going to make it much longer. But anyway, I did a step 9 with my dad a long time ago, y'all, like a year and a half, 2 years in. I had got a list. My dad told me, he said, you don't have to pay me any of that back. I just want you to live right. My sponsor said, no, you don't. You make a list, you pay that man back. That ain't for your dad, that's for you. Even if your dad don't want the money back, you pay it back. And I did. I paid back every penny. And I said, Daddy, if I owe you anything else, you let me know and I'll get right to it. He said, no, son, we're even. And I felt like it was fair. He felt like it was fair. And it was over $10,000. And he came to work for me at my car lot. When he retired, he retired. He loved driving cars. So I'd have him go and pick. Anyway, we made an amends. I love him. It just blessed my heart to be able to be there. And you guys surrounding me with love. He's in a better place. If there's one person I notice in heaven, it's him. There ain't no doubt in my mind. And guys, and you made it possible for me to be able to be there so I didn't louse it up like I did with my mother. I know she forgave me. That's one of the things that I had to learn is that she wouldn't want me to continue to kill myself with alcohol. She says, I forgive you, Kip. I love you. I believe that in my heart. I've made an amends with her in my heart. And I'm free today. I'm free because I put all that on pen and paper and God has released me. And today he don't bring it up no more. So why should I? And that's one thing I'm grateful for today is that I can walk with my head high. I don't have to drink. My bills are paid. I got a nice place to live. God has blessed me beyond look, when I got here 11 years ago almost, and I'd have wrote down what I wanted from Alcoholics Anonymous, and 10 years later, what I'm going to have, look, I would have shortchanged myself. I got 100 or a million times more than I would have ever expected from Alcoholics Anonymous being here almost 11 years. I cannot put I can't put nothing on it. It's all about the peace, the joy, the serenity. And yeah, I read in the big book, in the 12 and 12, it says, if you seek the spiritual, the material will take care of itself. And I believe that. I believe seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And that's what's happened to me. And I found it in Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's where my problem was, is I thought God was going to do it through the church or whatever, when all along he was pushing me to you guys because y'all understand me, y'all get me, and I'm able to help people just like me. And that's all I got. Thank you so much. Just love each and every one of you. Charles, again, thank you for asking me to speak. I'll be forever in your debt. I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Thank you, guys. I love you. I'm done.
All right, thank you, Kip. Let everybody unmute.
Yeah. That was a good story.
Good
Thank you,
job.
Kip.
Skip. You too.
Y'all get the information for a sponsor speaking tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, Skip, Kip,
yes,
text that to me when you get a chance.
I
And
sure will.
get them guys.